May 10, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. There was one piece of economic data that came out at around 7 a.m. Pacific Standard, which is about right here. Maybe it caused this big drop here. But then the market kind of just continued going down further. It was the preliminary consumer sentiment. Other than that, there was no other news item that came out. Trading itself was pretty slow, very similar to the rest of the week. If anything, this week is probably the week to be on vacation because this is the last 5 days. As you can see, I took a trade on Wednesday. I could only find one trade. And then I also took one trade yesterday and I could only find one trade. And I would say like this one was even a sketchy trade that I don't think the setup was that good. And I took no trades today. It was very slow price action, which is similar to the pretty much the whole week. And as I said, if you had taken vacation this week, that's probably a good time to take vacation because nothing really happened. There were a couple of possible setups that I found, but overall, you had to sit through this big amount of, this is a lot of time, by the way, but in 2000 ticks, it's not very many ticks, so there weren't many setups. And yeah, it looked like it was just kind of rally two legs up, a very slow, gradual sell-off, and then a very, very shallow rally. And within those two legs, there were kind of these smaller swings, but nothing eventful really. Yeah, I'm gonna go into the trades right now, or the trade setups actually. Well, actually, I can delete this. This ended up not being helpful at all. Pre-market. So in the pre-market, before the market opens, I take a check at the volume, and today's volume was really low, similar to yesterday, similar to the day before, and pretty much the whole week. It just wasn't a lot of stuff going on. I thought I saw one leg up, and then kind of another shallow leg down with the orange leg right here. So this is on the open. There is already a new low. It's a first entry short. Pull back. This creates a second entry short. Now this is what I call an almost short trade because it's a break of this green up channel, which did already break and make a new high. So you're thinking maybe prices are going to come back down. This yellow channel isn't really that confirmed yet. It has one touch, two touch, and you can manipulate it to get a third touch here. So maybe a support here and kind of a three touches here, but it had a breakout here. So it did have a strong close. This is a signal bar though. So it's not a very good signal bar, but it did close below the EMA. And I could see a potential second leg up. It's like one push up, pull back, second leg up, because this downtrend really isn't confirmed yet. And I don't really trust that this is the pre-market. Well, I know there's the pre-market high and there's a pre-market low, but I don't really necessarily think that we're in a trading range just yet. So plus on top of that, this is, if you look at the timestamp, it's 6:30:06 Pacific Standard. So this whole candle formed in 6 seconds. So there is just a lot of volume that gets unleashed right when the market opens. And so it feels risky for this sketchy setup to take any kind of trade. Prices then continue moving down, kind of chops around. It negates or just kind of nullifies the yellow down channel. It's not really in play anymore. Pushes up. You don't really get any clean setups. You do have a new low here, first entry short, second entry short. It's a good signal bar for second entry short, but it's ambiguous, the setup, because you could say you're going to push all the way back down to the EMA. It's a good signal bar, but that's the only real thing going for you. If you drew this as a potential resistance, this bottom support doesn't really get confirmed when you're seeing this yet. And then it kind of gets confirmed. It bounces up, and then here you for sure have a confirmation. Then you can really trust this orange up channel, but it's already too late for this trade. Prices push up, kind of consolidates. It breaks out the pre-market highs, kind of oscillates. There's no real clean setup. Then there's this huge drop down. This is right when the economic data came out. Pushes down. You have a first entry long here. You could say this is the new high. First entry long pullback, second entry long, but this is second entry long. It's a bad signal bar. Nothing else is really telling you to get prepared for a long. You could try to find a support line here, but it cut through these candles. And it feels like you'd be inventing, key entry points in order to justify taking a long setup here. Prices go up. It does create a new low. It's a first entry short, pull back, second entry short. So this is actually a possible trade. I wasn't fast enough to realize it though. What is nice about this trade is it's a break of this orange up channel, but it made one attempt up. So here you're thinking there's a possible second attempt up, but it did close below the EMA. This is a relatively decent signal bar. And visually on this yellow up channel, even though it is one leg, it looks like there's two legs. So it looks like there's a break of this green channel. It looks like it made one attempt up, pull back, made a second attempt up. It's not quite measured, but it is look like two legs visually. And then afterwards, when it flushes down, now it felt like, okay, there was a trade here, but unfortunately, I don't have the experience to kind of recognize this in real time or even have a hunch of it. But it is nice that it had a rejection off this. Prices then continue moving down. At this point, I do draw a potential placeholder trading range. I had the support roughly here, and then the top of the range, I actually had it right where the pre-market was, but I later moved it up to about right here. So I'm thinking there is a potential that we're going to be in a trading range, so I'm just watching it carefully. But then it breaks out. I'm looking for a potential failed breakout. It doesn't quite happen. It's like a breakout pullback, and it just continues further down. So then I find this yellow down channel. I'm just looking for a potential move back close to the EMA and in a short opportunity. You don't quite get it. You do have a new low here, but then the count resets because it makes a 4-touch bottom, breaks up. So I'm keenly watching because I did draw this as a placeholder trend line, but in real time, I also had other trend line possibilities going on, something that linked up with here, and something, I think I had a couple others, and then I finally settled on the red one. Comes up and it gets rejected, so that's giving me confidence because it's 1-touch, 2-touch, 3-touch, pushes down, reverses up. So I'm thinking it's break, makes one attempt up. It could make a second attempt up, and ideally I want to see it flush down. Then I see a first entry long, potential second entry long failure. And you do have a new low, first entry short. You technically have a second entry short right here, but this is good. This isn't a good signal bar to go short on. It's a little ambiguous. Plus the follow-up trigger bar did engulf this guy, the signal bar, but it didn't push and close below the EMA, so it feels risky to go short. Definitely, I'm not thinking long because look at the overall market context. It's showing you that it's kind of a sell-off. So it just kind of tells you to sit on your hands. Looks like the short would have worked, but of course you don't know that in real time. Kind of consolidates here, bounces. So I do like this red down channel now. Looks pretty clean. Potential bigger range, bigger trading trend channel prices are moving in. First entry short. Technically, I have a second entry short here. Now this is a break of this blue down channel. Made one attempt down. It could be making a second attempt down. I also saw this as a potential consolidation area. So although there is a new low, first entry short, second entry short, EMA is kind of holding prices down. It felt premature. So I wanted to see a lower high to feel confident. So it looked like if you did enter, you'd be in the trade now. This candle likely, well, depending on where you kept your stop, likely would have stopped you out because you probably kept your stop one tick above here. Then it gets choppy. Nothing I particularly like. You can make the arguments a new high here. First entry long, second entry long. It's a bad signal bar below the EMA. It just doesn't look right. There's a bunch of second entries here, like first entry short, second entry short, count resets. First entry short, technically have a second entry short here, pushes up, pushes back down. But again, this whole area feels ambiguous because I had the trading range here ultimately, but it could have been just a down here. So if you were to take a short based upon the second count of the second entry, because you have a new low, first entry short, second entry short, you're going to reset the count, which doesn't feel quite clean right now because this low is higher than this one. But if you did restart the count, you go first entry short, push up, push back down, second entry short. The problem with this is there's not enough room to the lows. So, and I'm doing kind of a weird count, but you're in a trading range, so you're not really looking for second entries. So even in a trading range, this doesn't even feel like a super safe setup, especially after the close, because you don't have enough room to scalp out. You'd have to have taken it on the engulfing of this kind of a sketchy setup. So I didn't mark it, but it's just something I want to note for myself. Prices then continue down. You have second entry long here. It's like new high, first entry long, second entry long. Could be a potential failed breakout. But if you took this trade, you'd have just barely enough room to scalp out. It feels dicey. I left it alone. Prices then continue moving, breaks out of this red channel, comes back down. You don't really have any clean second entries. You could say there's a new low here, first entry short, Technically, you have a second entry short right here, but it's a bad signal bar. It's above the EMA. Just overall doesn't look that clean. Doesn't feel safe. Kind of pushes up. You do have a new low here. First entry short, second entry short. You could argue there is a second entry short and maybe a potential triple test, but I saw it, but I didn't really like this type of setup. Pushes up. You do have a clear new low here. First entry short pullback. You have a potential second entry short here. It is a measured move. I saw one leg up, pull back, and then a second leg up. And within the second leg, kind of like made two attempts. One leg up, consolidation, second leg up. So you could say there is a measured move that has completed with a double top. So it's a double top here. As a red, this red down channel does need to test its low. And you have a decent signal bar before you hit the EMA. So this could have been a possible trade. I wanted a lower high confirmation though. I wanted to come up, next two bars push up here, and the second bar after this guy kind of push up, but not exceed these guys and then flush down. Unfortunately, that was too hopeful because you get a lower high way down here, and that's already too late. So this is kind of it would have been an aggressive trade in my opinion to take, and I wanted the lower high, but unfortunately in that case I missed the opportunity, especially on a day like this where there wasn't that very many opportunities in the first place. It's a little disheartening, but it's okay. It's just better to miss a trade than get a wrong trade. Prices push up. And also, I just want to remark that as I was watching this, I was starting to get, in a weird way, FOMO because I was watching things and you'd look back and you'd wonder, well, what if I actually took this aggressive setup here? Like a visual first break. And then, although it didn't close below, what if I took this one? It would have been nice to ride this down. But I had to step back and kind of remind myself not to invent setups or try to really stretch and grasp at straws in order to justify a lousy trade. So just want to make that remark. Okay, prices continue. Hits the top here. I drew this purple support and potentially a purple resistance up here. It is a new high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. This is a potential trade. I thought this is actually a possible decent trade. It's a higher low, confirms a second entry long, but it also could be seen as one big leg. And then this is a higher low above the EMA. I thought it's a good signal bar, and I like that it moved one tick below and then flashed all the way up and closed above this previous bar. So I thought this is a decent trade to take. So you'd still have enough room. What I was wondering in the back of my mind is this or yellow down channel going to test its low? But you notice that the bounce up already reclaimed half this move. So I'm not really sure that it's going to have another correction. I thought was leaning more long, but I decided not to do it, not to take the trade and just watch and wait. Definitely, if something here showed up as a failed second entry short, then I would have definitely jumped on it, but it never showed up. You kind of have a failed second entry short here, but I didn't like that it's too far from the EMA. This is kind of a doji candle. Prices then continue moving. It comes up, touches the top of the purple, confirms this as a resistance. So I'm thinking I'm in a big trading trend channel here, but it's also very late in the day now. You have a second entry long. The thing I thought about it was there's just barely enough room to get out before you hit the highs, but it hit the highs 3 times. So I'm thinking more logically, it's probably going to start a push down. But I didn't want to take a risk on jumping on this trade. Plus, to be honest, I would think I was just mentally exhausted from watching all this, that I wasn't really in tune and ready to try to jump on a trade to try to scalp any kind of profit today, because I just kind of accepted that today and pretty much this whole week, it's going to end up being a two trades for this whole week type of thing. Now, I didn't trade them today because I didn't trade on Monday because I was just out. It was very slow, very slow, very slow, another very slow day. So with the last 30 minutes of the week, I wasn't really gonna try swinging for the fences. Prices then chop, kind of moves in the last 10 minutes, and even the last 10 minutes aren't that exciting as it typically is. Kind of moves into the close. So overall, the week, just has been really slow. Price actions just hasn't been offering many setups, and some of the setups that were there, unfortunately, I wasn't as sharp to catch it and take advantage of it. So I'm gonna walk away this week with just two trades, and I'm kind of okay with that. So hopefully that was helpful.